yourself is, how could that be true? Or, I don't believe that. Faced with so many new changes and more changes coming, you can bet that the changes in your beliefs won't be comfortable. They will require that you re-examine your beliefs and form new criteria for what you believe now. It all starts to shift quickly when you see your friends doing things differently. That's when it really kicks in. That's when you become what's called, if you've been holding on to your old beliefs, holding out, you're not going to give up, you're not going to change. Then all of a sudden, everybody in your life, or most everybody in your life, you see them moving with the times. They're changing and evolving and moving through it instead of holding back. Okay. You become like the 100th monkey. The fact that the momentum is already underway, your friends, your family, they're moving that way. They're just gravitating toward it like a moth to the flame. And you're hanging back. It's easy for you to move that way. It's not an effort at all. That's where we're getting to in our evolution, in humanity. That's where it's going. It's been moving us this way for decades. And now, finally, the big push, the big reset button has been hit. And that's why when the truth is hard to believe, that's when it will supersede your existing beliefs that you've held on for decades. And you'll just find that releasing them is easier than staying still and staying stuck. All right?
So we have Karen Pritchard, Linda Schwartz, JL, hi JL, and Mary Elizabeth with us.
Mary Elizabeth, I have to say something to you. You've been on my mind.
Uh-oh.
What's going on with you, Mary?
Yeah.
Something's been going on. I'm so glad you're here with us tonight. Okay?
Okay. Well, this whole thing about believing the truth, I did some digging.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that is, the truth is out there somewhere. Fascinates me because I always think people they can't change their mind. Okay? It's impossible to change their mind. Well, it's not that they don't want to change or they can't change their mind. They don't want to. And I found a great article in Psychology Today from a few years ago.
And we're going to have the guys intervene here tonight on this, all right? Because this is a tough one. Yet this is exactly where we're being moved to go, to release those old beliefs so we can begin to open up. Just like this around me, the stained glass around me. Open up to possibilities.
New possibilities, right. Okay, so in the realm of having new possibilities right in front of your face, most people are impervious to the facts, even when they have proof right in front of them. And they don't want to change their mind. And it's called, listen, I never knew this one, cognitive immunization. And it's kind of like a firewall around your mind. All these beliefs.
It just pushes everything out.
That's exactly right. And you're immune to thinking differently. Not that you can't, but you don't want to.
You know what's interesting? I have to say this. You might be immune to thinking differently when somebody in this world contest you. They challenge you. You know, they have a rebuttal. They have an argument. They want to make. They're trying to get you to budge. Okay, right. And move, because they are really testing you to see if they can do it. That's really what's going on here. Everybody's trying to figure it out in this world. But I will say this: when you hear it from the guides, from your guides, when you hear that come through, it hits you totally differently. All of a sudden, you open up. There's something about it. Okay, let me use another example. You have a dream. And this is your dream. You had this dream. This came through you, okay? And you write down your dream, and then you might even send it to me and go, what's this dream mean? I get dreams all all the time. I don't even have enough time to answer all the dreams that I get. I'm at the point where I'm getting 100 dreams a day. Linda, answer my dream. What does this mean, Linda? What? Because I'm really good at it. All right. But you get the answer to the dream from a perspective that does not include me. It is a broad perspective. It's a universal perspective. It's symbolic, and it's the framework for which we live our lives on a larger scale than this human experience. Okay, it reaches into the archives of our soul. That's what it does. And I see what that is, and I translate that for you. That's what dreams are about. So with dreams, that's just one way that I know you guys are all open. You get a dream and you write it down and you go, I wonder what the heck that dream really means. I mean, what does that really mean? Ray, you had a dream this morning. Come back to me, Ray. Tell your dream. This is just every day we share. First thing Ray and I do in the morning is share our dreams. Ray.
That was the plant dream, right?
Yeah, the plant dream. The trees and the big plants.
Yeah, you and I were living on this street.
And it was pretty barren.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden, all these plants and trees and shrubs, and they were really beautiful. Big trees, little trees, full-grown trees just popped up all the way up and down the street. And everybody was walking up and down the street just looking at all the plants.
And how did that make you feel, Ray?
Good, because, I enjoy nature, but
how did it make you feel?
It made me feel like we're planting things with the work we do.
That's right.
We're planting little seeds.
Well, these are more than seeds.
I know, but we're seeing them grow now.
All of a sudden, the everything we've been working on is going to show up. You see, the growth, the flourishing of everything we've been working on is just going to, not that it hasn't been showing up already, but it's just going to all of a sudden appear, and it's going to already be there almost instantly, huh, Ray?
Yeah. It's
going to feel almost instantly. So these dreams, now Ray would have never come to me and said, well, I can see that our future, Linda, is we're going to just flourish, and it's going to seem like it happened instantly. I'm going to look at him and go, this is his belief system. And I'm going, or he's trying to play psychic on me. And I'm looking at him going, yeah, right, Ray. Where did you come up with that? But when it comes through your dream, you guys, or something that you didn't think about, something unusual, out of the ordinary, you were in the shower, boom, it came through. You were, any of those mindless things, driving somewhere, it just came through. That's when these things supersede what you might believe. Okay, like Ray and I, we've been working real hard on this project for years and years. All of a sudden, there's all this beautiful growth, greenery, healthy new growth. That's what it means. So this is easy to accept when it comes from something higher than we are. But when you are challenged by someone in this world to change your beliefs, that's when you dig your heels in and go, no. Why do you do that? It's because how do they know any better than what you know? I mean, how does anybody know? That's okay. Ray, come over here for a minute. Let's let the guides take it from here, just to see what they have to say about where I just left off with that. And here they go.
People are entrenched in their belief systems. They like them because they are convenient.
But it's got to take off after what I just said, all right?
Anything new, whether proven with endless evidence or not, is just ignored. It's difficult for a person with this mental firewall perspective to come out from behind it. It's not that they're a bad person. They just do not want to change, and an opposite opinion or belief system is just too much.
Okay, but let me stop you. We already know all that. That really isn't the point here. The point here is, how come it's so easy for people to move beyond their beliefs and accept something new when it comes from you?
It feels different when it comes from us. When you listen to people or the news, you listen with your ears or your brain or your mind. You then react in a positive or negative way. It's a reactionary response. When you hear the truth from us, you hear it with your heart, and you feel loved.
That's true. Just like what they just did. You feel the difference. They're not trying to push something on you. They don't have an agenda, a bias. They're trying to force you to believe. They don't do any of that ever.
No, they don't. You know, this immunity, this cognitive immunity, they also said in the article that it's almost impossible to challenge someone who has this mental firewall. In fact, when they hear something that doesn't compute, they even get stronger and more embedded in their
You guys
challenging.
You guys know what that is. You've done it, and you've bumped up against it in other people.
Right, and when they try to change you, you even become stauncher in your beliefs.
Right.
So
It's almost like when you were a little kid and you didn't want to be told what to do. Part of you already suspects that they may not be telling you the truth, or they may not be telling you something that's good for you, right for you. So you're already on the defense. Why do you do that? I know why you do that. You've been lied to. You don't know what to believe, especially now in this world. You see, in fact, the fact that you guys have had this pause where all this happened this year, and you've had this time out, and you find yourself doing research on the internet and looking at stuff, you're beginning to go, oh my God, I didn't know this stuff was going on. But I never heard it on the news, and you still don't hear it on the news. I'm going to bring something up to you guys in this insight. I want you to respond to me if you read this. I put it into the how it works, my part of this insight. It has to do with a link I put in there about the
Dodd-Frank.
Go ahead, Ray.
The Dodd-Frank
The Dodd-Frank
legislation
that was passed. It was actually passed in 2015. Did you know? The link is there to go verify the article and the consequences of this. Did you know that when you put money in, when you put money in your bank account, whether it's your checking account or your savings account, that it's no longer considered a deposit? It's considered an investment in the bank. And should there be some kind of calamity that happens with that bank or any of the banks that you have your money in, they have the right to confiscate your money and give you a promissory note, give a promise to pay at some point in the future. Now imagine the bank's collapsed, it failed, and they hand you up, and you can't even feed your family. You were relying on that money. You thought the FDIC would cover your money up to $250,000 in the U.S. All right, but you know what? There's not enough money in the FDIC to cover the shortfall.
Trillions of dollars. There's trillions of dollars of deposits and savings accounts and checking accounts and CDs and money market things like that. And what they call it will be the banks won't get another bailout. They're going to bail themselves in.
Bail
They're
in.
going to bail in. That's
with
what they call it.
with the depositors, and
Right.
it's really not the depositor. You're not a depositor like you thought you were. You can't just put your money in there and then come back out and take it out. Okay, you can still do that right now, but there's been right now in Hong Kong, there's been a run on the banks going on since when, Ray?
For a couple of weeks now. Well, look what happened just yesterday.
With Chase Bank.
J.P. Morgan Chase. The people woke up Monday morning, their money was missing out of their accounts.
Hard to believe.
Oh.
In your wildest dream, you never thought that could happen.
But you didn't hear anything about it in the news.
You will hear nothing about it in the normal news when you turn on your TV to watch the world news or whatever. You won't hear a word about that.
But just go in there and say J.P. Morgan Chase steals people's money out of their accounts.
And you'll see the article.
There it is.
Do your research. Hard to believe. Okay, what do we have here, Ray?
Well, here's the punchline. If the bank goes belly up and you have $50,000 in there, guess what you get when they take your money? You get $50,000 worth of the bank's stock.
Right.
That's totally worthless.
You're an investor.
You're an investor.
You're an investor. The minute you put your money in the bank, so when you put your money in the bank because you've got to cash your check or whatever, just pay your bills right away so you don't get caught off guard. I mean, it's really going to be hard not to be totally caught off guard, but we can protect ourselves. People will say, well, what if I can't keep my money in the bank? Where do I put it? If you're asking that question, you already lost your money.
Right.
Okay. Because what you're really saying is, but I always relied on the bank to manage my money, to safeguard and hold my money. Well, that was a lot to expect. Yeah. Think about that. That was a lot to it. That was a lot to entrust somebody else with, right. With something that's so vital to your well-being. These are the kind of things. They're hard to believe. You're going to say, when the truth is hard to believe, that's one of those truths. And it is hard to believe, but you know what? It's happening. Right, what do we have here?
Well, we have some activity. Karen has a good question. Karen Pritchard, she said, what happens when we have a realization and experience to release negative and judgmental reactions from close family members, and when you illuminate your spiritual context that you've acquired, developed?
Did you say illuminate?
Right.
Okay.
You illuminate to them.
Okay.
To the family.
You disclose.
Yeah.
You're just who you are.
Yeah. Hey, I forgive you. I believe in this. And then they respond with anger toward you. So what is it you always say? Keep what?
Keep it to yourself.
Keep your guidance to yourself.
Yeah, but I'm going to say this too, Ray, because when the truth is hard to believe as we're moving through this, we are not ever stagnant. We're either slipping back or we're moving forward. There's no other way. You're never just sitting still, even if you may feel you are. Even if you dig your heels in and go, yes, I am. No, you're not. You're slipping back or you're moving forward. There's no staticness here. So when you find that situation, you find yourself in a family you don't align with, period. That's a rude awakening. That's disappointing. That's sad. Nobody wants to believe that.
It falls in a line that you grew up with that family that had the same beliefs. They indoctrinated you into their beliefs because that's the way they were taught when they were kids. All right.
And it became an expectation.
Right. It became comfortable.
Expectation.
This is what we believe. We always vote this way.
This is what makes us
We like
family.
These kind of people. We don't like those kind of people.
This is what makes us family.
Right. And all of a sudden, you're not family.
Yeah.
You believe something else, something different.
Right. That's right, Ray.
You're a Buddhist vegetarian.
Well,
what?
You're a black sheep.
Yeah.
That's what's called the black sheep in the family. It's been going on forever, as long as humanity has existed. So, you know what? You woke up and they haven't woken up yet. You don't have to be rude to them or beat them up for it, but they shouldn't stop you from pursuing and riding on that wave that you're on to move that way,
So we're getting a lot of response here. You mean Just banks or credit unions? What? Theft? They're going to take our money?
Okay, wait. Are you getting Linda's Weekly Guided Insights? Linda's Weekly Guided Insights on my website. You guys need to start getting these. We have some good stuff that we're putting out there that gives you the facts involved in these insights. So you guys need to get them. All right, go to my website, Linda's Weekly Guided Insight. It's all over the place.
It's free.
It's free. Sign up. It's every Tuesday. Yes, it's a fact. It's just a matter of one day when things get you cannot shove this much. What do you call it?
Worldwide debt.
You can't push this much relief and trillions upon trillions of dollars to rescue the economy. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be done. I'm saying that you can't do that and expect nothing to happen. Expect no backlash to happen. Expect, things to just go on the way they always have. You guys, it might be hard to believe, but you know what? There's a consequence to this stuff. This is just one of them.
And when that came out, that didn't get big news. The Dodd
it didn't. Most people don't know about it.
But all of a sudden, the fine print at the bottom of your bank statements says this is not a deposit. When you put money in the bank, it's an investment in the bank, and it could go up, it could go down. You could lose all your money, and you'll get some worthless stock in return.
Yep.
So yes, it could happen. The other thing is people say, well, this is the one I don't get. Like they have their $250,000 in their 401k plan. And they go, wow, if I take my money out of that, I'll lose 10%.
Because you have to pay taxes on it.
Right. Well, I'm going to lose 10% right off the top. Penalty for taking my money out. And then they ask the ultimate question, where would I put it if I take it out?
If you're asking yourself questions like that, you're not capable or willing to take responsibility for what you have. You have a good problem. You have a problem most people would love to have.
Right.
Okay, you have money in the bank. That's a great problem. Now turn it into a solution. Turn it into something that could never be a problem, where whatever happens in this world, you will not be trampled over because it happens. And you guys, we're heading for so many things. I mean, if you can't see it by now, do your research. I keep going back. The guides will keep telling you, do your research. The information is out there, the internet. How could you not know what's going on when you step out there and do your research? It will be hard to believe. You guys will have trouble. Most of you won't, because you've known something's not right. All right. But it's time to open your eyes and open your minds, because this is not funny anymore. This is moving in a direction, and it's just beginning to build momentum. Okay. There's nothing you can do about what that is, but you can do something about your life. Okay. What do we have, Ray?
Well, we have some very intelligent people out there saying, thank you for letting us know and be aware of this. It might be smart to be safer now with my money in silver coins and put them in the First National Bank of my mattress.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the best ways to do that, in case you have to cross borders and there's all kinds of things that go on if you have bullion versus coin versus
jewelry.
Jewelry versus what do they call them? Rounds, Ray?
Rounds, yeah.
Versus actual American coins that are pre-64 and stuff. And I'm not talking about numismatic. Don't buy it for its art value. But if you have American money, they can't count it, if they want to tax you, they can't count it as that quarter, let's say pre-64, is really worth $2 or $2, or I don't know. I'm just using that as a round number.
Well, silver's at $21 now, so
the quarter would be worth
like a 0.7 of that or something like that. A little over half that.
Okay, you're not doing the math on it.
It's got 90% silver, so
I know you got to do the numbers. Okay,
I thought I could figure that out.
Okay, let's say the quarter is worth. I can figure it out. It's worth $5.
$5.
I already know that. It's worth $5. Okay, face is only 25 cents, but the content of it is worth $5. Although it's only 90%. So
Right.
maybe it's worth $4.50, something like that, for that one quarter. But when you go, if you were to take that quarter, that's pre-64, and take it to the bank, and they'd only give you a quarter back. They would not acknowledge that it's got any value in terms of its spot value. Okay, that's the beauty of having American coins that predate 1964, because you can't be there's all kinds of
You
little
can spend them.
Well,
see, the question here is,
that's another one.
Should you buy rounds, blanks, or American coins? You can't take a blank to the grocery store and buy your groceries.
Here's the thing. Imagine that if things get really crazy and they're
inflationary,
it's going to happen on some front. It's going to surprise us all. It's going to be hard to believe. Okay, that type of thing. That's what this insight's about. When it happens, how do you spend that money? If you have a silver round that's worth $1 in terms of its content, spot value, when you go to spend that money, it won't. Right now, spot's 20. But if you were to go out and spend that silver round, which is 1 ounce of silver, 99%. First of all, people don't know if it's loaded with tungsten inside of it. They don't know if it's fake. There's so much fake stuff going on anymore, right, you guys? They don't know if they can trust it. And all of a sudden, that one ounce, $20 today's value, 20. Let's say things go completely nuts. The dollar starts to crash because we've printed so much of it. It's just a promissory note, all right? And all of a sudden, that one round is worth $100. How are you going to go buy a loaf of bread with that when everybody else doesn't have the way to denominate with you? Okay, you need to really break it down, and you need to do something really small, because you guys, metals are going to take off. They're going to have. It's going to happen because
almost 7% today.
Yeah, it's going to happen because there's no way you can pump this much money into the market, into the economy, made up money just printed out of thin air, and expect the dollar to hold up. No way is that going to happen. It's hard to believe. Right. Okay, but your money in the bank, they can take your money because of this Dodd-Frank legislation. Oh my God, they can't do that. Yes, they can.
Money.
Yes, they can. They changed the law 5 years ago.
You remember when that came out? We did an insight about it when it came out in 2015. The guys talked about it, and
in one of my insights,
right? But we didn't get any feedback on that.
Nobody.
I remember what they said. They said it'll happen on a Monday. If the banks are going to go belly, it'll happen on a Monday. Everybody will come back from the weekend, and surprise! It's
called a bank holiday.
They call it a bank holiday.
That's what it'll be called, a bank holiday.
And guess what happened yesterday? Monday. People came with their money in J.P. Morgan Chase, and they had thousands and thousands of dollars taken out of their accounts, gone. And they went to the ATMs, and they got a message that said, cannot connect to the J.P. Morgan Chase system.
You guys, it's just like what happened this year with the coronavirus and how it shut down the economy in the world. What? That's hard to believe. If anyone told you that was going to happen, you'd have said that could never happen. That has, in the history of anything we've ever tracked in humanity, that's never happened. But guess what? It did happen. Okay, so this is just about you looking out. It's going to be hard to believe, but don't let your belief system keep you stuck. And I'm not taking my money. I'm not cashing in my CDs.
Where would I put it?
And all this kind. Yeah, where would I put? Any time you catch yourself even beginning to say that, you're in trouble. You're already in trouble.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
what else do we have?
Well, somebody said order the 2 journals. Somebody.
That's right.
Yeah. Thanks for letting us be aware of this. Silver blanks, silver coins. We all covered that. The elites have bought all the gold. Yeah, you're not going to take your gold to the grocery store.
It's too much, you guys. You guys need this to think about denominating, okay? Things get really nuts. You want to have a dime. You want to have a silver dime.
Right.
You don't want to have a silver dollar.
Right. That could be worth $3,000.
I mean, you can't denominate that. But the dime, you don't look flashy. You never want to look flashy, you guys. If you had gold, people would go, oh, that person has gold. Let's find out where they live. I mean, think smart about this stuff, okay? It's common sense. It's total common sense.
So this thing that happened yesterday with J.P. Morgan Chase, when the guides, 5 years ago, talked about the banks go belly up, it'll be on a Monday, everybody will wake up, and all their money will be gone out of their accounts.
Right.
That was a test yesterday to see how people are going to react.
To see, that is so true, Ray. See, some of this, there's no accident, you guys out there. Every single thing is calculated that's coming at you, okay? Now, all you have to do is see it for what it is. Don't fight with it. Don't argue with it. Yeah, things have changed. Oh, you might say, well, I liked it when it used to be like this. I remember when it used to be like that. So do I. I remember it too. I liked it too. Game over. Get over it. Get over it and stop fighting and battling with the way things used to be. Let it go and move into this, into what is. See the signs along the way and go, okay, I get what's going on. You guys signed up for this. You guys, if you're still alive, you're here on the planet, you signed up for this. You meant to be part of this. There's no reason to be a casualty of it. You hear me? That's what this is about. Let's let the guys interject for a minute here, Ray. This is like a conversation we have with them, and here they go.
Having an aversion to facts, that is truth, that is inconvenient at the time, is not an excuse not to act. The worst thing you can do is to do nothing.
Right.
If you think you may not lose your money if the bank goes upside down, take out half and see that someday you'll have half.
Right. But if you just keep it in dollars,
yeah,
you may find out that you have a whole less than half as time disintegrates the value. It's already disintegrated.
That's the only reason the metals go up is when the dollar goes down. If the dollar loses its value as the world's
reserve
currency, it might cost you $51 bills to buy a loaf of bread.
I'm going to say, just in 2014, silver was $14 an ounce in 2018. We're 2020 now, and it's over 20. It's pushing 21. That's huge. Okay. And you don't have to put your money in the stock market or something you just take that and you go out in the forest and hide it under a rock if you can't think of a better way. But whatever you do, don't say, where am I going to put it? Don't even do that, because that means you've already lost it. If
Right.
you're thinking like that,
Right. That's
okay,
pretty smart.
you have a good problem. You have the kind of problem everybody wants to have. Okay. And the more you have, the bigger, let's say, problem you have, the more choices you have. You don't have a problem. You just have the truth is hard to believe. You need to get over your old beliefs and start doing things from the perspective of common sense now, of what's obvious. All right. It's obvious, you guys. You're just used to, over the decades of doing it the same old way, doing the same old way. Okay. That's not going to hold up as we move along. We're in for some big, like 2020, we're in for some big changes, more big changes. All right.
Yeah. Okay. A question about how are you going to convince a retailer that it's actual silver? That's why you have the coins.
That's why you have the American coins.
Right.
They will trust, if you have a dime, they will trust that is a dime. That is truly content. Another thing is that dime, for anybody to even bother trying to what do they call it? Load the diamond or
They
try
couldn't. It's not worth it. They
what's
can't
it called?
to stuff it
Uh,
like a sandwich, like they do with the
yeah,
tungsten.
it's like they do with tungsten, where they suck the silver out of the middle of it and they push something fake in there.
Or they cut the gold bars in half or the silver bars in half, and they fill them full of tungsten. And
That's why
put 'em
those
back
are bad.
together.
That's why that's a bad choice. Okay, not just that, but how do you spend a hunk of that when when it's inflated so much? It might be a good thing that for you if you own it. If it went up to to $200 or something, but not if you can't spend it. And if it gets to be that big, everybody's going to become really cautious about, is it real? Okay, because then there's going to be all kinds of fakes going on. You've got to ensure that by doing it smart, that you did it in a way that people trust it. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say to you.
Yeah,
this is not about. Here's my point. This is not about an investment that's going to make you a lot of money, where you hoard. Okay, no, this is about making sure that you've shored up your bet, and you've got what your money is worth, that it continues to be worth the same value as it was when it used to be worth something in dollars. Okay, instead of trusting that dollars are going to have value. That's what I mean.
Right. And even if they came out with a new dollar, and all of a sudden, how many old dollars you have? Well,
or here you go, electronic currency.
There you go.
Bitcoin and blockchain and everything. We know all about it. Okay, and how do you know that? Do you even understand what that is? Not many of us understand that whole thing. Okay,
Imaginary money.
It's crazy. So, but what you do understand is something that's real. And something that predates 1964 and before.
Look at all the countries that have come out with a new dollar, a new paper money, and here's the new whatever they call their money. And for every two of the old ones you have, we're going to give you one new one.
That's never worked out.
Never.
Anytime that they've changed the currency, it's never, and the promise they make, it's never worked out. So you guys just have to look out for yourself. And the truth is so hard to believe, and we can't believe all this is happening. And oh my God, what are we going to do with all these changes? And they're so hard to believe. Stop that. You guys are on the merry-go-round ride. Chapter 1 of Guided. You're on the merry-go-round. Let's ride that bad boy together. Let's stick together and figure this out together. Do your research. Help each other out, okay? Don't get paranoid and scared and what am I going to do with it? My money and what? Stop doing that and just act on it. Take responsibility and move on and be aware and stay open and do your research. And don't weird out on the research. Don't let it frighten you. Just write it in your journal, what's going on in your head, so you can decipher what's the truth from what's your stuff that's getting in the way and stuff like that. That's what you guys need to do. You need to practice consciousness. That's what the journal does. It makes you conscious and think clearly instead of getting caught up in the hype and the drama and the what ifs and oh my God, what? And no, don't make stuff up. Don't pretend it into being when it's not necessary. And you may say, I want it the way it used to be. So what? It's over. It was over as of the time this all went down this year, you guys. It's just the beginning of it being over, okay?
Everybody looks around and they see everything's breaking. You know why?
It's supposed to.
It's supposed to break.
It's never been, the economy, you think, well, why don't they fix the debt? Why don't they do that? Because it's not supposed to work. They never planned it to work.
They planned it to get rich and get out.
Right. This is greed, you guys. It's got freaking greed. It's so out of control. So you just can't let yourself get beat up by it. Breathe. Write in your journal every day. Keep track of what's going on with you and stop complaining about what's going to happen or what do I do and what do I do with my money. You have a good problem. I'm not going to feel sorry for you. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. You've got the kind of problem that everybody wants.
That's it.
That's it. So take action. Do what you need to do while you still have a time to do it. I'll tell you what, by the end of this year, you guys, oh my God, take the action you need. Don't be worried about paying 10% tax. Pay the bloody thing and get control over your security for you and your family. All right.
Anything that's denominated on a monthly statement on paper, you're in trouble.
That's exactly what the guides have been saying for years.
Yep.
Get out of those assets. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, I got my money in an annuity. Oh,
What do we have here, Ray?
Well, we have, that's right, pre-1964, 90% silver coins. I hardly keep my money in the banks. I buy property as an investment. Wow. Other than it not being very liquid.
If it's not liquid, look out.
Yeah, yeah. See, well, the coming up, was it this Saturday is our next webinar. They're going to talk about, the guys are going to talk about the new experiences. How your experiences are going to be different than how you think they're going to be.
That's right. This Saturday, go to my website and lindadeir.com and click on live events, and it's going to take you right to the webinar we're going to be doing this Saturday. We don't do these webinars. It's $29. Nobody gets to see it except for the people who pay, and that's why the guides get into some real covert stuff. We don't know what they're going to tell you. We have no idea what they're going to say. The first time you hear it is the first time we hear it right there in that webinar.
Right. And just, here's a word from our sponsor. These webinars, the only thing we charge for. Everything else we do.
Yeah, we do this free. Yeah, yeah.
For years we've done this for free.
Right, right. So, this is just so you guys understand that you have choices. You're nobody's victim, okay? There's no reason to ever be like that, all right?
Free will means you can say no or no more.
Right, that's right, Ray. That's exactly right.
But what was the things the guide said this week in when we were talking to them, they said, people are giving up. People are going to just give up, and fly off the merry-go-round. Remember how they let go and they all flew off and splattered on the wall?
Yeah.
Okay. But they won't give up all at once. They're going to give in.
Little at a time. It's like walking. Okay, so it's like walking along. It's like walking along like this, and then one thing hits you and you kind of bend over, and another thing hits you and you bend over, and another thing hits you and you bend over and you bend over, and pretty soon you're just going through life like this. You guys, you didn't come here to live like that. No way. You came here to be big. You came here to be all in. You came here to do what you came here to do. So don't let these little things going along, and I'm going to say they're little, but they get big, like Ray said. They inch along. You buy in a little bit and a little bit more, and you cave in a little bit, and you compromise a little bit more, and then you believe them a little bit more because you want to believe them, even if it's not true, at your own demise. No way. Just don't do that.
And anytime you hear the words, it's for your own safety, it's a lie. Or it's for the children. It's for our grandchildren. This is why you have to do this.
Anyway, just start.
You want to do something for your grandchildren?
Seeing
Get that money out and put it in silver.
See, there's other things to do with it too, if you wanted to do it. But you need to become aware of what's going on. And then you won't be so jacked up about it. You won't be hyped up about it. You won't be afraid. You will sleep well at night, all right? And you won't be a hoarder. I'm telling you guys, this is not hoarding. This is preventing financial collapse in your own life. Just because the government and the world is irresponsible with our finances, with our global economy, doesn't mean you have to be. What's going on out there, it's going on out there. What's going on right here, you have control of. You are big. You are not small. You are not small. You are big. You have the power. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Don't set yourself up for it. All right. Get these insights. You guys need to have these insights because they're getting more. The guides are coming through with more and more, information that you guys need to have. You need to be aware of it. You're doing your research. They're helping you understand. Okay. This is never fear-based stuff. Never. It's just to help you align with the times so you don't get crushed underneath the weight of the lack of responsibility of everybody that's bigger than us. All right. No, no way. I'm not going to, there's none of us that have to suffer the consequences of that. Okay. There's no way.
Free will. That's why you came in with free will.
That's
right.
right.
You can say yes. You can say no.
Right. That's right.
But make a decision.
You guys are going to be good. You're right here. You got this thing. All right.